G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Happy Easter. It's Easter Monday now, and yeah, in Australia, I don't know what the rest of the world does, but in Australia, being a Christian country, we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, and for us blokes with sheds, gives us a good time to play in the shed. I mean, a bit of change of season, got a bit of asthma happening again, so I'll have to get into the puffers. But the weather report, we're running down at 16 to 28 today, so we've dropped a few degrees out of it. Last night being Easter, there's a full moon, and the Easter full moon always seems to be a really bright one for some reason. And yeah, it was nearly daylight outside, and yeah, we had. I woke up through the night with the moon shining in on my head. Probably done brain damage now, I reckon. Yeah, a bit more. But look, we had a great Easter. On Friday, Easter Friday, I come up the shed and I filmed the timing cover, taking the timing cover off the 65 engine here, and also the pistons. I got the pistons out, and I put a thing on Facebook, and here we go. And you know we had a lot of blow-by there. Well, there's no land in the piston rings here. Yeah, it smashed them. Most of the second rings were damaged on the 65, so I've got them out. I put a post on Facebook about using ether and things like that. Now, my friend Paulie, I bought the tractor off Paulie's brother, Neville, and I said to Paulie about using ether, because over the years I've seen ether, that extra bang from ether, it does break those ringlands out. But a couple of blokes said, oh no, Perkins and 65s are renowned for doing that. They break the lands out. But I don't know, I sort of, I don't normally find that unless the engine's buggered and someone's been using ether for a long time. I'll get rid of my glasses there. So the Paulie come out on Saturday and he said, what are you doing on Saturday? And I said, oh, bugger all really. I said, I'm going to be working in the 65. He says, oh, how about I come and give you a hand? So I said, yeah, well, if you want to. I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to get you to do. I said, I've only got like dirty old engine parts to wash. And he says, right, I'll come and wash engine parts for you. And I said, yeah, all right, if you want to. So we worked here all day together, and no filming can take place when you've got someone else in the shed, but I've still got to pull a crank out of this block yet too. That's filming for today, hopefully. And yeah, so Paul washed parts for most of the day, and the cam and the timing gears, and buggered around, and we had a bit of a yarn and went up for smoko and took it pretty steady really. And while he was doing that, I was doing the front axle, the front bolster. Now, you remember the front bolster where I did all the pins and bushes and all that? Well, it had bits of bare metal on it, so I've sanded that down. Hopefully today I'll get time to do the axle, and what I'm hoping to do is just as the parts get finished, as I've worked them through the system, give them a sand and a tidy up, and prime them, with a bit of grey primer, undercoat primer, and then I can assemble the tractor, put another coat of primer across everything, because all the nuts and bolts, every nut and bolt will be treated as in wire brushed and sanded and deburred, or whatever each part needs will be done. And then once it's bolted together, well, yeah, it'll get another light coat, it'll get a bit of a rub over with a bit of light paper, or steel wool is what I was thinking of. Yeah, sometimes steel wool across the top just takes any fur off. Sometimes when you're spraying with a primer undercoat, if you get it a bit dry, sometimes you get a couple of little powdery edges sort of thing, and rubbing it with the steel wool around the edges and all that, it just takes all that off, so your paint goes on nicely. So So yeah, I got the front bolster done, all the threads cleaned, all sanded and all done, and all primed, ready to go. And the tower, where the steering arm comes in, the tower goes down through for the shaft underneath for your tie rod ends. That's all bolted on and primed, ready to go. The one hub that I filmed is ready to go, but I do have to do the axle beam yet. It's over the tractor's life. It looks like some bugger has wrapped the chain around the front axle and pulled it out, but being a sugarcane haul-out tractor over the years, well, yeah, you never know what's bloody gone on. You don't really know. So there's a bit of tidying up to do there, so I'll probably do a bit of that today. I mean, yesterday being Easter Sunday, the kids came for lunch, and yeah, we had my young bloke and his kids, and his missus. She's about a fortnight off having another pup, so yeah, well, little girl coming along there apparently, you know, within a fortnight. So hopefully it all goes well for them, if it doesn't happen beforehand. But yeah, Tim's wife, Ali's mum and her grandma come for lunch with us, so we had a couple of families got together. Then in the afternoon we come up riding motorbikes, and I've got the old car, the old four-wheel drive ute here, Chevy pickup, remote control car here. I've got that here, and we made a couple of tracks up the loading ramp, and we spent the afternoon, the kids were riding motorbikes around, and when they stopped riding motorbikes, they'd come and we'd have a competition. We had a real steep little track, so who could get it up there. And anyway, daughter Adele, she got it up. I couldn't get the bloody thing up to start with, and daughter Adele just hops on and after a few goes, away she goes, got it up. So I thought, oh, okay, can't be beaten. And so I ended up getting it up then. Young fella Tim come along, was, you going to have a go at this? He goes, oh yeah, it was just straight up. And we thought, oh, you smart ass. But anyway, it was a good day for the kids. They had to be back home with their mum 5 o'clock yesterday for Easter with their mum. So, but yes, that was a busy day. No shed work really. I have been cutting up pallets. Through the shop there, we get a heap of pallets, and yeah, it just seems silly just to chuck them on the heap and burn them. So I chop them up into smaller parts, and we use them for kindling for the fire. So that sort of works all right. I'll split some up today and make a box of kindling, and it's starting to be fire season. So in the pool room there, we've got like a fireplace with a glass front, and if it gets a bit chilly, and chilly for us blokes is about 10, the fire gets lit up. And oh, it's nice just sitting out there watching telly with the fire going. So so I've got to get a bit of firewood organised over the next little while. For those into tractor shows in Australia, the Queensland Heritage Rally is at Kangaroo about the 17th, 18th, that weekend of September. And our crew from here is going over. Jude and myself are going over. Paulie's coming over with his TE20. My mate Davey Recco, my old Rocket, he's taking a tractor over, and we're camping together. Other mate John Dudley, he's doing 2 trips from Howard, so he'll have 4 farm hauls there. Farm hauls are his thing. And yeah, and Ray Fermor from Harvey Bay. So Ray's camping with us, Ray and Deb, and yeah, so we're getting ready for that. So we're going to take the pig, our little cooking pig, and so we've got to chop a bit of wood for that, and Paulie's going to take it over on his trailer. So you want to come and say g'day, or you want to register and bring your tractor to the Queensland Heritage Rally at Kangaroo in September. Jump on the website for Queensland Heritage Rally. I was talking to the lady, Charmaine, the secretary, and she said the camping's filling up very quick. So if you want to get into that, jump in and have a go. And yeah, look, we're going to, pardon me, I'm going to take the 135 over. It's the tractor I seem to be taking this year to things, so it's all reasonably fresh and tidy looking and things like that. So I could take the TE20, the little brown ground TE20, but yeah, I don't know, I just think I'll take the 135 just to see how we go. So I've got the kids, I've got the charger on here trying to charge bloody batteries for remote control cars. And the charger seems a funny thing. Sometimes it sort of kicks in and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure. Not sure how it goes. Oh, through the week I got, my mate sent some heap of farm oil stuff to do. So far I've got the F14 fuel pump done through the week. So that's all looking nice. I have some parts to do other jobs for him, and hopefully I'm trying to use that as after work jobs. So so after work through the day, I come home from Queensland Tractor Spares and I pop up the back and try and work on carbies and things like that. So apparently there's a few TE21s on their way too, so never a dull moment. This morning I'm trying to get the stew done. I'm running a bit late. I had a due night of sleep in and just sat up having an extra coffee and a brekkie and just taking it easy. So it's probably nearly 7:30. So I'm running a bit late today, which, why not, eh? But it's going to be a bit of a social day today. Paulie's coming out again, and my mate John Dudley from Howard, he's bringing up a 1020 engine to do, and I agreed to do it months ago. And it's a real early old farm old 1020. I think it's 1928 or something like that. So I said, bring him up. So when I did that trip down to Sydney, down to Gosford, Goulburn, Canberra way, when I did that run, I bought stuff home for John, like a W40 manifold, some starters, some generators and distributors, all for farm oils, which is his thing. And so he's coming up today to pick up the parts from Sydney and drop the engine off. And the Hare and Forbes stand, the 450 kilo stand, worm drive stand, I've bought another one of those, and I'll probably put his engine on that when it gets here next week. So today he's dropping the engine off. So we've all gone to shows together for years. So he's coming to bring the engine up. So seeing as he's travelling an hour or so to get here, Roll Rocket's bringing his Chamberlain out, and he's going to drive it out from in town just to show JD, John. Paulie's coming out for a yarn, and I think Grumpy Dave from next door said, he's coming over, buddy. What's going on? And I said, I've got a few blokes coming over for a smoko, and that said, he might come over too. So this morning will be a lot of talk and not much working, but we'll get the stew all done and go from there. It doesn't hurt to have a bit of a social occasion. I would like to get the crank out of the tractor here. It does look good, like there's no scoring or anything on it. Back to the piston. I'm all over the shop really. And back to the piston, and I said to Paul about it, and I said, that tractor, did you and your brother ever have to use ether to get it started? He says, no. He said, never. He said, his brother's a horsey bloke, see? And he said he wouldn't have known what it was, and he wouldn't have had a can on the place. So he said, right up to the last there, you just touched the button and broom, away it went, and no harm done. But Paul did the top on the injection pump, resealed the injection pump. He put a new lift pump on, and I had trouble bleeding it out. And anyway, his brother's saying, you've effed that up. You've buggered the pump up. And he says, no, it's right. And he reckons he took the top off half a dozen times to just check. And when he first lifted it off, he made a little diagram of where the spring went, so it was right. And his brother's up him, he's buggered it up. But he said it sort of wasn't. But he said he didn't. His brother wasn't one for changing the oil. Like, he had it for 34 years, and he reckons it might have had 1 or 2 oil changes in all that time, maybe. But he said, you always pressed the button, the tractor started easy. He said it didn't use any oil, it didn't blow any smoke, but after they had trouble starting it, and I can remember it happening, and I said, I'll come out and have a look for you, but we didn't get to that. It was just, I was at work and they were sort of doing it themselves. So anyway, he's telling me, he said, some bloke from up the road come down, and his brother was talking to him, and he's a fitter from the mines, and he'll get the bloody thing going. And so he couldn't bleed it all out. bleed it out properly. He was having trouble with it. So he says, anyhow, he says, hang on a second. He says, I've got something that'll get the bastard going. So he goes and gets a can of engine starter, ether, and start your bastard, we call it here. And he just whacked a gutful of that down, but by the time that was the case, the battery was getting a bit flat, and he's sort of pouring it in, she clong, 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 and wouldn't start because it wasn't going quick enough, and the the pre-ignition in there, because of the ether, the engine would sort of half lock up. So this diesel fitter bloke, he said, well, we'll tow the bastard. So he bloody ups her with the ether, and Paulie towed it with his little TE20. And so old mate gets there, and he said he just poured like half a can of ether down the bloody air cleaner, and they towed it. And well, he said it took off, and he said it knocked and rattled and banged and bloody carried on. And when it fired, he said it blew a heap of smoke out, and old mate, the diesel fitter, he had the revs flat out. But when it fired and it revved, and it must have just been revving flat on the ether in the oil bowl or some bloody thing, he's looking around for a foot throttle to shut the tractor down, and there wasn't one. It's up on the dash. So Paulie saw what was going on. He jumped off his tractor, come back around and backed it off and shut it down. But he said from that moment on, it had this knock in it, and yeah, it just wasn't good. So after that, and he said they shut the tractor down. They got it started a couple of times, but he said it had this rattle in it, and from that moment on, it had all this blow by. It was dripping out the back, and the front breather, when I got it, it was pouring out of there. It was leaking out the water pump, it was leaking out the front timing seal. The front timing seal, I've got the front plate off, and it's actually had two seals in it and a speedy sleeve at some stage in its life. Not when Paul and Neville had it, so it's happened like more than 34 years ago. So anyway, the tractor rattled and banged and that, and the mechanic jumped in his car and went, and he said he hasn't been back, this bloke. But we're sort of pretty sure it just had a big gutful of ether and getting towed, and that may be what done it, because he said, look, it just started. Before he pulled the top off to do the fuel pump, he said, you just press the button, it started, no worries at all. So, and I find it a bit odd that, like, banging those lands out, a couple of them look like they're older hits to me, but there is some fresh ones. You can see on some of them, you can see the clean metal around it still. So it's interesting. But yeah, some other blokes said, oh, that's just Perkins. They all do that. Well, I don't know. I've been in the game a long time, and I must admit I've seen a couple, but it's not as common as these fellas were saying. So anyway, that's what we got the deal. We don't care. We got a new engine kit there. Like, it's no animosity or anything. It's just an interesting point to chat about and work it out. So yeah. So anyway, once I get the crank out, which I was hoping to do more last week, but just bloody shit happens, and yeah, I was only at work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because Friday was a holiday, and I was doing carbies after work, not working on this, but I got a few videos out last week, and I'm hoping to knock out 2 or 3 on the 65 this week. Like, the timing gears are filmed. The camera only goes for half an hour and it shuts down, and by the time I looked at the camera, and well, the bloody thing had shut down, I was at 34 minutes on the sound, so I've missed a little bit at the back there. But today I'm just going to show undoing the rear crank seal at the back there, pulling the crank out. Then once I clear a spot on the bench, we'll mic the crank up and just see what we got. I will check end float before we pull it apart too, just for interest's sake. So yeah, we're in 65 mode at the moment. John Dudley will drop his motor off shortly. Jude reckons, seeing she's at home, she's going to make smoko. So she's going to do pumpkin scones and a cup of tea, and we'll just go up the pool room and sit and yarn for a while, so it won't be much happening. And in the meantime, I'm going to try and stay clean. And when everyone goes home, I'll get up here and get dirty and make a big mess, but yeah, that'll work from there. So, but look, that's about it. Classic Tractor magazine. Well, Classy Massey Ferguson Enthusiast magazine. I subscribe to that, been getting it for a long time, and I've been trying to remember to show you, but in here there's an article that's been going on for some time. Yeah, so there's a good article on the Massey Ferguson 65, and there's an article on the difference between Mark 1 and Mark 2, and little things you don't know. Like, I've been in the tractor game, well, I'm sliding away. I've been in the tractor game a long time, and I've never owned a Mark 1 Massey 65. And it was interesting to read in here that the Massey 65 Mark 1 had two 6-volt batteries in it behind the tank here. Then when they went to the Mark 2, they went back to one 12-volt battery, and it says the space saved allowed for the fuel tank capacity to be usefully increased on later models. And I thought, yeah, look, I won't say the figures. I'll get it wrong if I just try and wing it and remember it. But yeah, look, it's a good article on the Massey 65 for those interested. And then I think it's this one as well. Where are we? Oh, there's one about buying Massey 65, but I think it's this one. I'll get that many. Here we go. Massey Restoration Part 13. So they're up to Part 13 of a series by Ben Phillips, and yeah, he's up to the brakes. He's doing the brakes this time. And it's funny with the brakes, when we get there, I found a service bulletin the other day from that stuff I found from Sydney, and where you have you pull the rod and the actuator goes fatter to lock your brakes up. I found a service bulletin to say, well, if they're binding on, there's a piece in there that you grind out, and you grind about 2 millimetres out of where the pulley is there, where it must pull hard against the housing or something, and you take a couple of millimetres out of that, and that stops the brakes from locking on. So it was just interesting that you're reading an article from Ben on doing his tractor up with the brakes, and I was looking through some service bulletins, just trying to see what was available to put on the Queensland Tractor Spares technical page on the website, and I come across this thing on the brakes, so it all just gelled together. On the queenslandtractorspares.com.au website, on the technical tab, I scanned in the other day and put the Massey 35 clutch information there. So if you want a copy of it, everything I put on that page is for free download. You can just put it up there and read it, or you can print it out and take it up to the shed. It's got finger heights and where your flywheel looks on the single and double clutch and all that. It's a free resource we're putting out there. Give a bit back to the industry that supports you, and life's pretty good. So so that's about it. I might go handheld just in the end here, and I'll give you a look at the engine where we're sitting here. I've got the front axle on the floor over the other side there. I'll show you that, and I'll just do a bit of a walk around, just show you what's going on in Bundy Bear's shed at the moment. All this stuff here, it looks like a bloody bomb went off, but anyway, that's all right. I seem to work like that. But the 23C engine on the other stand there, it's coming off, and I've got a special bracket made on that stand to put the 65 gearbox, a 6-speed, and like I say, this restoration's every nut and bolt. We're not missing anything. So I've got the bracket for that. So that's why I bought a new engine stand. They were on special. I got $50 off. I think it was $4.39 delivered from Sydney to here. So I'll have one for the 65 engine. I'll have one for the 65 gearbox. I'll have one for John Dudley's engine, and I may even buy another one yet. I've got a few other plans, and I just find them handy brackets for things, and I was thinking I could put a bracket on it and come out and just to put mud guards on. You know, put a mud guard on, and you've got the mud guard sitting up here that you can sand and wash, and then you can wind him down a bit to get this edge. And anyway, they're just a handy thing, worm drive, so we'll see. 450 kilos load, so when JD's engine comes, I'll probably give you a quick walk around that as well in the stew, but we'll go from there. So I'll shut up. Thanks for dropping by, everybody. There will be a couple of 65 videos out this week. I've done a shuffle of computers at work as well. I've got a big monitor to put up here now, so I can do some editing here. I've got my better laptop at work now to do the editing on, not on my other. So there's been a shuffle from all the gear, so we'll see how we go with it all. But yeah, look, thanks for stopping by. Have a great week, everybody. In Australia, next Monday's a public holiday again for Anzac Day, to remember our diggers that went overseas. So Alan's away for the next 2 weeks at work. He's going fishing, having a holiday for 2 weeks. So we might be a bit busy, who knows. But once again, thanks for dropping by, and we'll catch you all next week. Okay, down on the floor here, I just dropped it in the back door yesterday, was the front bolster, the front radiator support for the 65. The old radiator's out here. I've got to get that shroud off, and I noticed a broken bracket on that, so more work there. But yeah, that's the front bolster upside down. I've been hanging it on the forklift on an old sling here. So that's all sanded, painted. There's no spare paint on it. I do need to tap a couple of the holes, the casting holes out, and get that done. On the pallet here, I've got some of the parts Paul washed. You can see the seal sticking out the back there and sticking out the front, so they've doubled up the front crank seal. So we'll fix that. There's a speedy sleeve on the front pulley, so I'll have to see what's going on with that. I'll probably pull that off and see what's underneath and go from there. But this axle here, you can see a few marks where chains have been wrapped around it and all that, so that'll get all sanded back, wire brushed back. Now I've got the sandblasting cabinet going, but like that big housing there, it's just too heavy to get in there and roll around, so I'm doing it all by hand, but it took us most of the day. I've painted one of the front hubs and all that. So what the idea is I've got the front axle there. I'll sort this out. I've got that one to go in, so we're going to put it in and bolt it in place and do all that and have it all primed, and I've got to put the other front spindle and all together yet. So got a bit more to do. Yeah, Paulie's been doing the timing covers and things like that. I don't know what glue they use, but oh Christ, it's hard stuff, some of it. But I'm going to sandblast all that. And down under the parts washer here on the floor, I've got the injection pump, and it's waiting for a bit of a turn. Then that's another box of bolts Paul did for me. So yeah, we got quite a bit of work to do, and but that's why we do it, isn't it? So but yeah, if I look for clean jobs, I do little housings and that. But hopefully today, once my visitors go home, we'll be back into the swing of things, mainly into the engine. And here's a few pallet ends I've been chopping up. I've got some more pallets there to go, but they're just the boards that we're splitting up for kindling. Yeah, I'm saving. I've got a bucket there. That bucket sits near the fireplace, so I split this stuff up, and that's our kindling for the next year. So that sort of works all right. We've got a bit of firewood on the cruiser. Now on the slasher there, look, that's going real well. If you have a look over the back there, I slashed all that. I haven't slashed that in ages, that paddock there, because that's where all the trees got pushed down. But I've had the blade in, and I've got about another 50-60 metres of the fence line done. That was, I can't remember, Friday, but I've still got a lot of logs to pick up. And this is where we had fun with the kids. So on the loading ramp here where we unload the tractors and that, we've got a track up there for the buggy, a track there in the grass. I'm thinking of dropping a match in there. And the hard hill is this little fella here. So, but yeah, look, it'll go up all right. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got proper drive shafts and all in it, the little bugger. So anyway, I need to put that in the bin. That come with the 185. It's all rusted up and buggered, so just another job. But yeah, got all the mowing done, all the orchards mowed, I cleaned up a heap of pallets out the front here. Yeah, mainly all out the front here is all been mowed and tidied up, and yeah, so we can play in the shed. He's a bloody good dog. Hey, you're a bloody good dog. Oh, there we go. How's that? What do you reckon? You should smile. Can you smile? Don't bloody think so, hey? Well, I just got to show you this. My mate John's just been and he's dropped this engine off. Now this is a Farmall, a McCormick Deering engine I've agreed to do for him. And it's out of a 1929 Farmall regular. Now, he imported this tractor from the States. The bloke in America said it was a good tractor. He used to use it to run or start some of his big gas engines, and when John got it out here and he started, it had a knock in it, so he popped the sump off, and here is some of the bottom of the conrod, and you can see the corrosion there. That's been buggered for ages. So anyway, I've agreed to do this engine up for him. That'll be coming up in the channel. Oh, you can't really see down there. He's taken some parts off. It's got a beautiful brass carby on it. That's a really nice looking carb. I'll do that up for him. Looks like we've had a little bit of something go on there. I don't know what the story is. But when he was bringing it up yesterday, he was going to try and get the flywheel off, but he couldn't get it. So I said, look, just leave it on, I'll sort it out somehow. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll sort it out. And looks like we have a key there. And it looks like there has been another one here, but there's a thread in there, so I would say we'll have a look in there and see if there's a little locking bolt or something, because he put a 10-ton puller on it, and I think he buggered his puller, so I said leave it alone, I'll do it for you. So there you go. That's coming up on Bundy Bear's shed, and when I get the new engine stand up, this is going to be the first cab off the rank.